One, it's Elon from Unconventional Chess, and today we're going to be discussing a game that I recently played. Now, this game actually is a little bit different from other chess games I've played because normally we see here, like for example, with this opening e4, I've actually played that in the other games I've played and analyzed to discuss with you. What I've decided to do is move it a little bit so that we're discussing some unusual themes primarily, and some of the themes you might not see like in every single game, but I think that it's incredibly instructive when it comes to what you could experience in, let's say, either an opening, middle game, or the end game. And I want to show you, what the position really is about, what the mechanics are when it comes to playing these sort of unusual moves and seeing these unusual positions. So let's get started. I'm black here, and I don't know how exactly I did this. I just played a daily chess, which is a little bit different than some of the other games I played, which have been more 10-minute games. But I guess I just decided just to do a challenge a day. I got 24 hours to make every single move. So let's start with, he starts with e4. Now, in theory, I could just go and I could just, I guess, play some really, really crazy opening. I could say, for example, like knight a, signaling this analyzing mode here. I mean, in theory, if I really wanted to, I could just play this really crazy move like knight a6. And of course, that's an unconventional opening that I played for quite a long time. It's actually called the lemming defense, which we. Why is it not coming up here? But okay, so let's see your question mark. Let's see. Okay, that doesn't do it. So it's called the lemming defense. It's very, and I don't really know exactly how that name came about, but it is kind of strange because after all, like, why would bishop just come in, and why would the knight actually develop to e6 and then bishop would just go and take it and black's almost be doubled and black would look kind of crazy. But actually, I've had a lot of success with it, and I'll show you in subsequent games like what that opening is like. So let's go back here. So I decided, okay, I'll play a normal opening. Lovely. Normal opening with c5. So this is the Sicilian. Now, there's a lot of different variations of the Sicilian defense, and I haven't really played Sicilian like as of recent. I mean, I probably could imagine I could just do something like e4, c5, and then white were to play something like knight f3, for example. Then I could just play one of my wacky openings like with knight h6. So I suppose you could just play like a normal opening and then put like some crazy diversion on it. So then white continues with d4. This is actually called the Smith-Morra Gambit, and I've never really understood exactly how it originated or what the purpose is. I mean, I think that really the biggest thing is white kind of sacks a pawn because normally the queen doesn't just take it, and I guess it's one where white gives up a pawn for increased development. That's generally what I've seen with a lot of games with this Smith-Morra Gambit. It's not that unusual, so that's why I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. So then, I can just use rook e6. Now, I like this move because e6 just gives a little bit more control over the d5 square, but at the same time, if white were to take it, I could just take with my bishop. And the bishop is developed. That's very nice. So the game continues. Queen takes d4 definitely is one of the oddities that white could play. Now, normally if we go back here, actually white would play knight takes d4, which is generally how it's played. And then, we go back to the analysis, for example. In this position, white could just play knight takes d4, and then the continuation could, be something like knight c6, and then that challenges the knight. Let's say something like c3, knight f6, and then either bishop e3 or bishop g5, which in that case, black can play this. And the game kind of transposes into something interesting. I guess, it's probably going to be eventually white or black, they play for central control, and then white could just, let's say, develop something like bishop c4, and then castles kingside. Going back. White takes this queen. Okay. I call this a tempo move, actually, bishop e4, because it puts a pin on white's knight, but at the same time, black will castle. So white intersects bishop 2. Castles a3, bishop e5. Now, it's interesting that I've seen a lot of games where white will typically kick the bishop with a3, but at the same time, it's one where the black bishop can't really retreat, because if he normally retreats, then just a knight would be on the side of the board, and then he could just take the bishop. But in this case, black doesn't have to take the knight of c3 because it doesn't really serve any purpose other than, okay, white now will have a really great bishop along this diagonal. So, like, here, say. And with this retreat, black can actually refocus bishop toward this diagonal here, toward h2. And then it could have some nice activity. So white continues with bishop d3, d5. This is good here, actually, because black is threatening d4, which will fork me the knight. And then white takes, castles. And I think that's interesting. I actually thought that white was going to castle queenside, because it seems like the castling queenside is a little bit safer, because now the rook would go back to the analysis. White would just go here, and then you'd see that white rook actually is putting a lot of pressure on the d-file. Oh, I suppose now, like, the reason why he didn't really do it, because again, like, black could just play d4, and then, like, that forks it. So that's why white probably did not castle queenside immediately. So let's see. Back here, castles. I suppose white simply didn't realize I missed, again, d4. Why did I not play that move? I don't know. I guess sometimes it's an oversight issue, where it's just easy to go and just make moves and you suddenly overlook them. So I play rook e8, e4, c7. This is actually a hard position for black, because on the other hand, bishop d4 probably going back was probably a mistake. I think black should have probably just played bishop c7, which would kick the queen off. And at the same time, like, black still has plenty of defenses along the king side. So now it's going to be a little bit harder for black with this knight d5 move, because he's threatening bishop takes h7 check. And you'll see here that if black were to retreat, then white can just go here, because if the knight takes, well, in theory, there are two different ways white can do this. You can just take the knight, or you can just play queen takes g4, which will give black a very, give white a very strong initiative. It's kind of intriguing, I guess. So let's go back here. And in terms of actually that's what happened. C7, bishop takes, but I didn't actually go and take the bishop with the knight. I just played king h8. Of course, I'm not like worried about this fork here, because white's queen is still threatened, and I could just take the bishop anyway. So black takes. I think that's a mistake, actually, because he should have just gone and just taken it immediately at f7. Although, I would love to see some comments in the analysis section about what you think that white should do in this position, where you just take bishop on g4, just play knight takes f7 with check, and it'll be very interesting to see what the debate is over that. So, black takes, which is what I do, knight takes g4, check, King takes, knight takes d8. A takes d8, h3. So that's good. I mean, kicks knight off g4 and also defends against the h2 square. Knight f6. Bishop g5. a6, okay. We're actually transitioning now to the endgame, even though there's only 21 moves, because queens are off. At the same time, there's just a lot less pieces on the board, and it's all going to be about just how do you get the piece activity in the endgame, but at the same time, the kings are going to have to be able to play a more active role. And whether or not this is a good move, I think it's a little sketchy, because now the white knight is going to be leaving a very bad pawn structure after I take the knight c3, and these isolated pawns are not going to look very good, which is what happens. Bishop takes c3, rook takes, or b takes c3, right? Check. I like this move a lot because it challenges the rook on the e file, but at the same time, white just can't go and leave an isolated pawn on f6 because now you just take rook with check. And at the same time, even if we were to take, say on e8, then it just leaves the black with a much better endgame because I have an extra piece here that can go, say, like d6, e4, and attack these queenside pawns. So white declines the rook offer, rook d1. I decided to go there anyway. Let's do it. Okay, we exchanged bishop versus the knight. So now I think this actually proves that pawns are weak on the third rank, and actually taking the knight proved how just bad white's pawn structure is. So, the pawns themselves, there's actually 3 pawn islands. 1, 2, 3. And white also has 3 pawn islands. 1, 2, and then 3 here. Check. Unfortunately, now we're beginning to see that white is just going to lose a pawn at e3 because it's very weak and there's nothing to defend it. Now, of course, it's just a matter of me moving my knight so that the pawn at a3 can be taken. Which happens now because I played knight e5, a4. So, of course, white can probably just go and easily defend it, because if I don't do anything, white can just retreat, say with rook b1, and then put rook in front of the pawn. So I go here, takes. Now, what's interesting here is that this is actually where the theme of the cutoff comes in. And a lot of times you see some games where, okay, I mean, the cutoff can just be that in the endgame, the rook will just cut off, let's say, the king. But, I mean, for example, I'm not really sure how to set this up, but let's say if the king were, like, on d2 and then the rook was on c4, then the king can't come any further to this side of the board because just the rook would be intercepting the king's path because the king would be in check. So if we go back here, yes, the rook looks a little bit awkward on the a4 square because the rook is not in front of the pawn, but that's okay because, as we will see much later, the knight will play a very pivotal role in cutting off the rook's path toward trying to keep an eye on the pawn. And I'm going to get to that point here just to kind of simplify things. So, okay, the rook goes behind the pawn. That's okay. As we push. Here, rook check. Oh man, look at that. The knight is playing also a really nice defensive role because now the king can't come over here. Knight guards the e3 square. And pawn f3 is obstruction. This is where the cutoff actually happens because now the rook will eventually come here to the a file and cut off the white rook for being able to defend himself against this queening the black pawn, which is very nice. Check. So finally now, this is where the theme begins. The white rook is now further cut off from the passed a-pawn, and the a-pawn will have a beautiful direct path to queening. So eventually we just get to the end of the game here. Okay, nice, I don't need it anymore. Queen. So, check. I mean, there are different ways to do it. This is the best check here. F4, and queen check. Two. This is critical because now white king is going to get in a mating pattern because now he can't retreat. So just, I don't know what the point of this is. Check. And white resigns because, as we see here, we go back to the analysis. The only move that white has is king to h4, and then rook h2 is checkmate. So it would have been forced mate, and white resigned. It's a really beautiful game that I played against Hector Ferramosca. I think it's actually Spanish. Yeah, it looks like it's Spanish. And it's just beautiful in terms of how everything evolves into the endgame, and seeing that beautiful cutoff at move 40, where the black rook, I mean, again, there could have been a bunch of ways to do this, but probably the simplest way was just rook a5, where now, and it's actually instructive because now, actually, apart from the fact that the black rook now is in front of the pawn, even if it weren't, it's still very instructive because now just the white rook is just totally obstructed. I mean, its path is cut off. The white rook can't do anything. And it just goes to show that passed pawns, when they have a lot of support, they just become so menacing that it'll automatically tip the scales in your favor. I hope that this was a very instructive game, and if any of you have any questions, would like to leave comments, I would love some of your comments on some of the moves I made. If you have any suggestions on what I should do in the future, or maybe you have some ideas as to how things could have come about, feel free to leave the comments, and I'll be very happy to answer them and be of assistance to anybody here with the Unconventional Chess Corner, as well as the page, theunconventionalchess.com. And hope you have a great day, everybody. Take care.